Right, before we read the next bit of Act 2, let's just recap what's happened so far. So John and Elizabeth Proctor are very uncomfortable with each other following his affair with Abigail Williams. Elizabeth says that Proctor must go and tell the court that Abigail is lying, but he seems very slow to do this, and in fact she's been telling him to do this for the last week, but he hasn't done so. He keeps putting it off. Mary Warren arrives home and tells them that 34 people are now in jail and that Goody Osborne will be hanged for witchcraft. Mary gives Elizabeth a poppet. That's a little rag doll that she made for her in court today. And finally, Mary Warren tells them Elizabeth's name has been mentioned in court. Right, let's see what happens next. Onward. Okay, here we go with the next part of Act 2 then. Elizabeth trembling fearfully. Oh, how unwillingly. Turning on her, his rifle in hand. I will curse her hotter than the oldest cinder in hell, but pray, begrudge me not my anger. Your anger? I only ask you, woman, am I so base? Do you truly think me base? I never called you base. Then how do you charge me with such a promise? The promise that a stallion gives a mare I gave that girl. Then why do you anger with me when I bid you break it? Because it speaks deceit, and I am honest. But I'll plead no more. I see now your spirit twists around the single error of my life, and I will never tear it free. Oh, you'll tear it free when you come to know that I will be your only wife, or no wife at all. She has an arrow in you yet, John Proctor, and you know it well. Quite suddenly, as though from the air, a figure appears in the doorway. They start slightly. It is Mr. Hale. He is different now, drawn a little, and there is a quality of deference, even of guilt, about his manner now. Good evening. Why, Mr. Hale? Good evening to you, sir. Come in, come in. I hope I do not startle you. No, it's only that I heard no horse. You are Goodwife Proctor? I, Elizabeth. I hope you're not off to bed yet. No. Hale comes further into the room, and Proctor, to explain his nervousness, we are not used to visitors after dark, but you're welcome here. Will you sit down, sir? I will. He sits. Let you sit, Goodwife Proctor. She does, never letting him out of her sight. There is a pause as Hale looks around the room. Proctor says to break the silence, Will you drink cider, Mr. Hale? Oh, no cider, it rebels my stomach. I have some further travelling yet tonight. Sit you down, sir. I will not keep you long, but I have some business with you. Business of the court? No, I come of my own, without the court's authority. Hear me. He wets his lips. I know not if you are aware, but your wife's name is mentioned in the court. We know it, sir. Our Mary Warren told us. We are entirely amazed. I am a stranger here, as you know, and in my ignorance I find it hard to draw a clear opinion of them that come accused before the court. And so this afternoon and now tonight, I go from house to house. I come now from Rebecca Nurse's house, and Rebecca's charged. God forbid such a one be charged. She is, however, mentioned somewhat. Elizabeth, with an attempt at a laugh. You will never believe, I hope, that Rebecca trafficked with the devil. Woman, it is possible. Surely you cannot think so. This is a strange time, mister. No man may longer doubt the powers of the dark are gathered in monstrous attack on this village. There is too much evidence now to deny it. You will agree, sir? I have no knowledge in that line, but it's hard to think so pious a woman be secretly a devil's bitch after 70 years of such good prayer. Aye, but the devil is a wily one, you cannot deny it. However, she is far from accused, and I know she will not be. I thought, sir, to put some questions as to the Christian characters of this house, if you'll permit me. Coldly, resentful. Why, we have no fear of questions, sir. Good then. He makes himself more comfortable. In the book of record that Mr. Parris keeps, I note that you are rarely in the church on Sabbath day. No, sir, you are mistaken. 26th time in 17 months, sir. I must call that rare. Will you tell me why you are so absent? Mr. Hale, I never knew I must account to that man for I come to church or stay at home. My wife was sick this winter. So I am told, but you, Mr. You, why could you not come alone? I surely did come when I could and when I could not. I prayed in this house. Mr. Proctor, your house is not a church. Your theology must tell you that. It does, sir, it does, and it tells me that a minister may pray to God without he have golden candlesticks upon the altar. What golden candlesticks? Since we built the church, there were pewter candlesticks upon the altar. Just for your information, folks, pewter is a metal, but it is a much cheaper metal than gold. Okay, so there were pewter candlesticks upon the altar. Francis Nurse made them, you know, and a sweeter hand never touched the metal. But Paris came, and for 20 weeks he preached nothing but golden candlesticks until he had them. I labour the earth from dawn of day to blink of night, and I tell you true, when I look to heaven and see my money glaring at his elbows, it hurt my prayer, sir. It hurt my prayer. I think sometimes the man dreams cathedrals, not clapboard meeting houses. And yet, Mr. a Christian on Sabbath day must be in church. Tell me, you have 3 children? Aye, boys. How comes it that only 2 are baptised? You might not recognise baptised there. You might be more used to christened, perhaps, or naming ceremony. Proctor starts to speak, then stops, then as though unable to restrain this. I like it not that Mr. Parrish should lay his hand upon my baby. I see no light of God in that man. I'll not conceal it. I must say it, Mr. Proctor. That is not for you to decide. The man's ordained, therefore the light of God is in him. Flushed with resentment, but trying to smile. What's your suspicion, Mr. Hale? Oh, no, I have no... I nailed the roof upon the church. I hung the door. Oh, did you? That's a good sign then. It may be I've been too quick to bring the man to book, but you cannot think we ever desired the destruction of religion. I think that's in your mind, is it not? Not altogether giving way. There is a softness in your record, sir, a softness. Elizabeth speaks. She hasn't spoken for a while. I think maybe we have been too hard with Mr. Parris. I think so. But sure, we never loved the devil here. Hale nods, deliberating this. Then with the voice of one administering a secret test. Do you know your commandments, Elizabeth? I surely do. There be no mark of blame upon my life, Mr. Hale. I am a covenanted Christian woman. And you, Mr. Proctor, a trifle unsteadily. I'm sure I do, sir. Hale glances at her open face, then at John, then let you repeat them, if you will. The commandments? Aye. Looking off, beginning to sweat. Thou shalt not kill. Aye. Counting them on his fingers. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbour's goods, nor make unto thee any graven image. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord in vain. That thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. Thou shalt honour thy father and mother. Thou shalt not bear false witness. He is stuck. He counts back on his fingers, knowing one is missing. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image. You have said that twice, sir. Aye. Elizabeth delicately. Adultery, John. As though a secret arrow had pained his heart. Aye. Trying to grin it away, he speaks to Hale. You see, sir, between the two of us, we do know them all. Proctor, deep in his attempt to define this man, Proctor grows more uneasy. I think it be a small fault. Theology, sir, is a fortress. No crack in a fortress may be accounted small. He rises. He seems worried now. He paces a little in deep thought. There be no love for Satan in this house, mister. I pray it dearly. He looks to both of them, an attempt at a smile on his face, but his misgivings are clear. Well, then, I'll bid you good night. Elizabeth, unable to restrain herself. Mr. Hale, he turns. I do think you are suspecting me somewhat. Are you not? Hale, obviously disturbed and evasive. Goody Proctor, I do not judge you. My duty is to add what I may to the godly wisdom of the court. I pray you both good health and good fortune. Good night, sir. Elizabeth, with a note of desperation. I think you must tell him, John. What's that? Will you tell him? A slight pause. Hale looks questioningly at John. Proctor, with difficulty. I have no witness and cannot prove it except my word be taken. But I know the children's sickness had naught to do with witchcraft. Naught to do? Mr. Parris discovered them sporting in the woods. They were startled and took sick. Who told you this? Proctor hesitates then. Abigail Williams. Abigail? Aye. Hale's eyes wide. Abigail Williams told you it had naught to do with witchcraft? She told me the day you came, sir. Hale suspiciously. Why did you keep this? I never knew until tonight that the world is gone daft with this nonsense. Nonsense? Mister, I have myself examined Tituba. Of Tituba, Sarah Good, and numerous others that have confessed to dealing with the devil. They have confessed it. And why not? If they must hang for denying it. There are them that will swear to anything before they'll hang. Have you never thought of that? I have. I have indeed. It is his own suspicion, but he resists it. He glances at Elizabeth, then at John. And you? Would you testify to this in court? I had not reckoned with going into court, but if I must, I will. Do you falter here? I falter nothing, but I may wonder if my story will be credited in such a court. I do wonder on it, when such a steady-minded minister as you will suspicion such a woman that never lied and cannot, and the world knows she cannot. I may falter somewhat, mister. I am no fool. Quietly, it has impressed him. Proctor, let you open with me now, for I have a rumour that troubles me. It's said you hold no belief that there may even be witches in the world. Is that true, sir? Proctor knows this is critical and is striving against his disgust with Hale and with himself for even answering. I know not what I have said. I may have said it. I have wondered if there be witches in the world, although I cannot believe they come among us now. Then you do not believe. I have no knowledge of it. The Bible speaks of witches, and I will not deny them. And you, woman, I cannot believe it. You cannot? Elizabeth, you bewilder him. I cannot think the devil may own a woman's soul, Mr. Hale, when she keeps an upright way as I have. I am a good woman, I know it, and if you believe I may do only good work in the world and yet be secretly bound to Satan, then I must tell you, sir, I do not believe it. But woman, you do believe there are witches in. If you think that I am one, then I say there are none. You surely do not fly against the gospel. The gospel. She believed in the gospel, every word. Oh, question Abigail Williams about the gospel, not myself. Hale stares at her. She do not mean to doubt the gospel, sir. You cannot think it. This be a Christian house, sir. A Christian house. God keep you both. Let the third child be quickly baptized and go you without fail each Sunday into Sabbath prayer, and keep a solemn, quiet way among you. I think, and we're not going to find out what he thinks today because that is the end of the reading. Okay, we've just got a few questions to test your understanding about what we've just gone through, what we've just read, about what is happening here between the characters of Proctor, Elizabeth and Hale. Right, time for you to do some writing. That was a lot of listening. Well done, folks. So I would like you to put today's date and then the title, Hale questions the Proctors. Underline both, pause me whilst you do so, and then come back to me. Right, we have 4 questions for you here to be answered. You need to answer them in full sentences. Do not just write because this or single word answers. Each answer needs to be crafted into a full and detailed sentence as required by the question. Some of the questions are simpler, some of the questions are more complex and require more explanation in your answer. Okay, I am expecting the answering of these questions to take you about 15 minutes. So that is the end of today's lesson, folks. We have got to start ploughing through the crucible because we need to be done by Easter, because we've got new things to start after Easter, and that means that we need to keep reading, keep moving through all the action and the events of the play. So there will be a few less written tasks this half term, and more time focused on actually working our way through the text and the plot of the play. Okay, so write your answers in 4 sentences, please, and when you have done that, that is your work done for today. Well done.